Hello, everybody. I'm live, and it's going to be some Boomertech. Should have looked at this before, but here we are. Here we are, and hopefully you can hear me all right. And gonna try to send this out to some people. Try to figure out what I'm doing here. But we are just hanging out today. Some stuff, whatever you guys want to talk about. I can pull up some stuff if we get bored. Da, 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 da. All right. This is my first time streaming on the computer. Last couple times have been on my phone. So, comments. I don't think anybody's in here yet. I guess I'll just keep on keeping it on while I'm. Oh, hey, says somebody's in it, but is that just me trying to make sure it's working? If you're here, comment so I can try to figure this out. It's gonna be a really boring beginning. Just want to make sure I'm. Oh no, I don't want to. Gosh, you see, I'm clicking buttons without reading them. All right, yeah, really boring beginning, but just gonna look through this. I'm gonna do what I should have done before this live. Very. Oh my gosh, Big T, you finally made it. All right, can you hear me all right? Is the mic good? My daughter likes to pull off the pop filter. I have no idea where it is, so hopefully my P's aren't monstrous. But put the link in the couple discords here. Hopefully we get a couple people to jump on, hang out. Coming in a little cracky, but it's tolerable. It's probably because of the pop filters. It help if I move it away. I don't know. I have like a nice mic, but it's in my garage all packed up. I need to pull that out. I was gonna try to see if this was adequate. Because I don't know if you saw the stream for tomorrow I have planned, but it's gonna be fun hanging out stream. So I was gonna see if this would be even a little tolerable. If it's not that tolerable with just me talking, I'm probably gonna have to go find the other mic and try to get that working before tomorrow. Can you hear that? Does it sound like AIDS? Do you get AIDS from hearing it? Well, maybe I should tune up before. Another thing I should do before I'm live. Yeah, it's super flat. Very interesting, good content, dude. Coming in low. I'm just gonna leave it here if that's all right. Is the guitar coming in at all? Is the guitar low on the guitar? Okay, I wasn't playing loud. I didn't want to blow you out. Anything? Can you hear it? Would it'd help if I wasn't garbage, but can you hear it? You hear it? Okay. I think it's just you and me, Big T. You want to share this out anywhere? I would appreciate it. I was surprised. I didn't do like any real promotion or anything. The last two, I had like 10, 15 people on or something. Not all at once, but like throughout. And there's people talking the whole time. So if I actually have to work to get an audience, it's gonna be more difficult. It's gonna be a lot more dead air, you know. Oh, coast to coast. All right, gosh. I've never been on there. Am I gonna have to start? I'm gonna start arguing with people. Playing outside, it's a little bit cold. A little bit cold. Also playing with my tchotchke on. That's muting on my strings. Got two. 1, 2, 3. You know what song this is? Again, I don't know what it is about playing in front of like anybody, but it feels like you have to be like this good when you're playing by yourself, because when you play in front of somebody, you get knocked down like 25%. So you gotta be better. So then when you get that stage fright hits, the 20% doesn't hurt you as bad. It's the jitters. Yeah. I mean, I always had the jitters pretty bad. I don't know if you can see I'm playing a classical here. Interesting. I got this guitar because I had a friend that was like, you play guitar forever. You're from Nashville. Can you teach me guitar? Yeah, sure, whatever. Buys this guitar. 6 months goes by. I'm like, hey, do you actually want to learn that thing? He's like, you can have it. I don't really care that much. All right. Now this is the one I play all the time. And I wasn't planning on playing anything specific. I was just gonna. A lot of people have like their techno 80s vibes going on when they're starting a stream. I don't play outside enough. I'm not as used to the cold. But also, hopefully, it starts to warm up. I mean, you can play. You can restring any guitar pretty much to play lefty. Oh, there it is. What was I playing earlier? 3-5-1. Play G. But the aesthetics, dude. The aesthetics of what? Of the classical? One thing my friend actually told me to go and pick this guitar up for him. He was like, make sure it's a good guitar. I was like, yeah, sure. It was from a little Asian man in his garage, and he had a bunch of these things, and he put like a glass phone screen protector on there for a pick guard. Never seen that before. But I don't know, it makes sense. You don't see it too much. Probably most people probably wouldn't notice it. I've scratched up bunches of guitars just doing that, you know. Hmm. Gotta actually pick on playing something. I'm just noodling around, not. Oh no. It's all good. It's all good. We're here hanging out. Are you still here? Big T. Said we had somebody else here, but they jumped off. It's all good. I'll just keep on noodling until people show up. Do you want my 4 personalities to judge you like X Factor? I mean, sure. I probably need it. I walk the world on insect legs beneath an unforgiving sun. Eat the dirt throughout my days. Born in dirt I come undone. Messiah born in Bethlehem won't find me lying dead. The world's too big for him to see me or hear the things I've said. So, is that good? I'm not trying not to blow out the mic. Just doing a little bit of test for tomorrow because I'd like to. Hopefully, we get more people on tomorrow. I want as many people on tomorrow as we can because we're going to do a writing sesh. Nah, on the sound quality. All right, man. I mean, a big mistake I had when I was in bands in Nashville that I prioritized stage presence, and I mean maybe that's okay, but I mean I could have been way better, but I was just all about jumping around and having fun. So that makes sense that that's still what I'm getting the best grade on. Is talking still not great with this thing? All right, let's. I'm gonna do a little bit of promotion here. Let's see if I can't get a couple people to hop on, hang out. Good on voice. Okay, can you hear the guitar and the voice at the same time? Oh, I'm still showing that. Yeah, see, here I am, Boomerteching it up, dude. It's a learning curve. It's like my third time doing this. Okay, I got the link. All right, well, hey, what do you want to talk about, Big T, while we're hanging out? I mean, this just shows me I got to do more promotion, but I'm so terrible at promotion and marketing and all that. Like, even I wanted to do guitar lessons, and I had a handful of students, but I bought a bunch of business cards, and I was like, well, now what do I do with these? I don't even know. So they're mostly sitting around. The story of me. All right, we're gonna do like our Protestant testimony. Like, when I was a sinner, I didn't know God, but He came to my life. So please, there's men handing plates around. Please just consider donating to my new ministry. Where was I? So where I am now? I was lost, and now I'm found. Why do most Protestant songs seem to just like hold those notes? It's just they love the G and just moving the bass note. I mean, that's like Wonderwall too, but I don't know what I'm doing. What am I looking for? What am I searching? Father, heal your world. Gotta go real preachy, sorry. Lord finds you where you are. But he doesn't leave you there. No, he doesn't leave you there. Prop prattle, yeah. Better if I play that up here. Yeah. That's stinking kryptonite. Why am I playing that? All right, Wayne, what do you want to know? I'm from Nashville, Tennessee, born and raised. As you can tell through the thick Southern accent. It's startles most people because I'm not in Tennessee no more. They hear me. I'm just walking by, talking my mouth off, and they're, "Whoa, dude, you from Alabama?" I'm like, "Nah, from Tennessee." You might get us confused, but I don't kiss my sister. I don't have a sister. I'm not from Alabama. And they're like, "Ah, man, I still having trouble hearing you through that thick accent." And I say howdy. I walk up, say howdy, how you doing? And they go, howdy? And they never hear that before. You did the opposite of what people usually do. Yeah, it's true. I left the South. What's the story with your? Oh, which brother? I have 3. I don't know what you're talking about. Whatever could you mean? Yes, my little brother. Yes, is very much so. What's the story with my little brother? Well, to get into the story of my little brother, I gotta get in the story of my whole family. That's not a happy story. No, not a happy story. We can do it if you want to. I mean, my brother's at where he's at because of PTSD, trauma, that kind of stuff. All right, here we go. Well, suppose I should start off with saying this, little brother. If you ever watch this, which I have no idea, you probably will. You know my channel. You know my channel exists. You've been in videos. I love you. I love you very much, and I've never stopped loving you. Love you. And yeah, I. Um, so when we were little kids, I've got 2 older brothers, and I've got my little brother. This is strange. We have to talk about this, but my oldest brother has cerebral palsy. He was born pretty premature, and he could never walk. Always in a wheelchair. I'm sure you know what cerebral palsy is. And when I was 7, he's about 9 years older than me. He became very mentally disturbed, and there's with the way I have to tell the story, it's probably different than my parents and even just my older brother, the one right above me. tells the story is that I was much more looking at it through the eyes of a child, and I learned a lot more when I was older. So try to tell it how it was, or how we think it was. My family went to a Protestant home church because we were going to like a Baptist church when I was a baby, and they weren't being very accommodating with Matthew's needs, being in a wheelchair. He was middle schooler maybe, and they moved his class to the second story. And the only way to get up there was the stairs. My mom was like, there's plenty of classrooms in the downstairs. Why can't Matthew's class be moved there? You know that he has this need. And like, I'm sorry, we don't want to have anything to do with him really. And my parents got mad, and they left that Protestant church. And we were just hopping around church shopping. You know how it goes. Maybe most Protestants here in America, most people who've come from that know how that goes. And they were in a home church with a guy who just decided to invite people over, and he became their pastor to, I don't know, dozen families. And my family went to their um, like a yard sale, and my older brother bought the pastor's old laptop because he wants it for school or whatever. And one day, my brother says, "Hey, Dad, can you come here? I need to show you something." And apparently, it was a bunch of child corn, child maize, MAIZE, on the laptop. And my oldest brother overheard this, and my oldest brother kind of hero worshipped this pastor, and he adored the guy. And when he heard about this vile thing that he had in his property, his former property, he shut down, and he stopped eating, stopped talking to people, and became total manic depressive. And I'm sure if any of my family hears this, my mom or my brother, my dad, they probably have more perspective than I do, because I'm trying to a lot of this is me recreating, um, and we don't often talk about this. And Matthew was in and out of my oldest brother Matthew was in and out of the hospital. I don't know, 10 times from the age when I was 7 to 14. And when he was at home, he was out of his mind screaming. He would try to hurt himself, try to hurt us. There was one specific time my little brother was in the living room, like with the family computer, trying to play a video game or something, and he's 5, 6, I don't know. And I'm upstairs and I hear this noise. I'm like, "What is that?" And I come downstairs, and my oldest brother has gotten kind of out of his wheelchair over on top of uh, the computer chair, and he's strangling my little brother. And I pull them apart, and I call my mom. We go outside. So there's all those things happening. We had to hide all the knives, and had to. He couldn't shower by himself because he would hurt himself. Or when he was in the hospital. So that was when he was at home. He'd be hurting himself, hurting us. He'd be screaming. He would tell us which demons were possessing him. He would tell us the names of the demons possessing him. And um, everyone in the house compartmentalized. We were all in our own rooms. It felt like I stopped seeing my dad. My dad was either at work dealing with my brother, or when he was home, he was on his computer, on his work computer upstairs with the door closed. And I was in my room, and I would play video games. I would read books, and sometimes I'd go outside with my friends, my neighbors. I was homeschooled through this. My first year of public school was fifth grade. Um, several years into all of this stuff happening with our family. So I basically just stopped going. I stopped doing school mostly for about 4 or 5 years. Very little actual schooling, because my mom is so stressed out trying to deal with her oldest brother, or her oldest son. Sorry. And when he was in the hospital, he would be doped out of his mind, drooling, unresponsive. And they told us that he had delirium, was what I believe was the diagnosis. And my little brother was about 3 when all of this started. So I think I had, 7.5 years of somewhat of a normal childhood. And my little brother had about 3 years before a family fell apart. And towards the end of Matthew's story, Matthew's still alive and well, and he's doing a bit better. Um, Matthew, if you're listening to this, I love you. We haven't really talked about all this before. But my oldest brother Matthew is very smart, very intelligent. He has cerebral palsy, so he has somewhat of a stuttering issue and all that. But he has one of the best memories I've ever seen on with anybody. You could say, Matthew, tell me about this movie from the 1940s, and he'll start. It's like the Wikipedia page. He can tell you about the actors, what other stuff they've been in, what he thinks about the movie, what happens in the third act. He can tell you about the director's wife's name. You're like, how did you know all this? I was just asking if you want to watch the movie. But he loves movies, and my family never really recovered after all this. You're not chatting back. I assume you're listening, Big T. And I'm gonna light up. If you have any questions, I'm in my Protestant testimony rambling phase right now. If you have any questions there, I try not to. I mean, if anything there you want to talk about more, I was kind of covered like 7 years and pretty big overview. They don't talk about this stuff. I mean, I feel like there's a time when I was a Protestant, especially when I was like in high school, that I was just processing all this stuff all the time. And and I mean, it's just my story. It's just my upbringing, and I feel like some people know all this stuff about my family, and some people don't. People I know personally. It's not something I usually ever bring up. People usually ask me about it, and I have to preface, it's not a pleasant story. One of my best friends back in Tennessee, he asked me about this, we'd been friends for a couple years, and we talked for hours, and he was asking me all those questions, and he was like, Wesley, why are you not on meth? If I was going through that, I would be on meth. And I grew up Protestant, non-denominational, and I think that there was a lot of good that came out of that. Obviously, there was a lot of dysfunction that came out of that, especially with problems in my family. But some semblance of morality and chastity and temperance was passed down to me through my Protestant faith, and I think that it served me when it could. And without that, I had somewhat of a different upbringing with values that I could be in a much different place in life. I have no idea what my life would be like if I was born Orthodox and all that stuff was happening to an Orthodox family. My family, if my family had been Orthodox, I don't even know how to speculate about that. But what brought me to Orthodoxy and when? I would say that about 2017, 2018 is when I kind of started becoming aware of it. No, that's maybe a little too early. 2018, 2019, I read Dostoevsky because Jordan Peterson was like, "Oh, the Dostoevsky," and I read all of his stuff, and that made me want to learn Russian because I was like, I'm reading this and it's so good just from like a literary perspective. Like the characters are so interesting, so much depth. But it's obviously Russian translation to English, and there's times I'm like, I feel like there's something I'm missing here, like a joke that it's not translating well. So that was the first time I became somewhat aware of Orthodoxy because he's talking about, Alyosha in Brothers Cave wants to become a monk, and there's a monastery. And I grew up in the American South Protestant land, and there's no monks, there's no Protestant monastics anywhere. So you hear about that in the book, and you're like, what? What is this? Still exists? Like, if anything, if I had any conception of monasticism, it was like something long ago that we don't do anymore. If that, I don't, I just never thought about it. So read all those books. I keep, maybe it's too windy or something. I keep going out. Read all his books, and then maybe 2019, I started watching Jonathan Pajot, and that was my first time hearing an actual Orthodox Christian talking, and that was very interesting. And then 2020, the beginning of 2020, February, I went to an Orthodox church for the first time. My mother-in-law had started going and invited us, and my brother-in-law, my wife's brother, before that had started going to one several hours away, like 6, 7 hours away, and he's the one that told my mother-in-law to go, and that's how we went. So, Luke, thank you very much. You helped me come to the true faith, and I went to the parish, and it's kind of weird how I reacted. I feel like I obviously, as a Protestant, I looked at it in an ecumenistic way of, oh, this is just another denomination, another expression, another branch. So a lot of the stuff that was unfamiliar didn't feel wrong or super out of the ordinary, even though they were unfamiliar. I hadn't seen icons, I hadn't seen incense, I hadn't seen standing in church really. Well, a little bit in the South, I had did my own church hopping a little bit, and I saw like a dozen different types of churches where there was one. This is the one that sticks out in my mind the most, where it was just like it was just the floor here, and then like bleachers on either side facing each other, and the men would be on one side and the women would be on the other side, and there was zero organization. It was just, if you have a Bible verse you want to say, if you have something you want to shout out, if you want to start singing, if you want to start preaching, anyone can be led by the Spirit to just do it. So having been to that before and seeing how that was an expression of Christianity. When I came to an Orthodox church, I was like, "Oh, this is just another weird expression of Christianity I've never seen before." So I didn't freak out or anything. And it took me a while. It took me like probably 9 months, 10 months, maybe a year of entering into catechism, where I wasn't I wasn't a catechumen yet. I'm just talking to the parish priest, and I'm bringing up my Protestant arguments, or he's bringing up part of the catechism class. I'm raising my hand and having all my questions answered. And it was about a year of just all of my arguments being blown out of the water. And I would say, what about the real presence? That obviously can't scientifically be true. Like, that's not possible, and it's just a symbol. And he would go, well, let's look at the scripture. What about this? These dozen verses here. What about Justin Martyr? What about all of these saints who say that from, the 100s? And the people that said that it was symbolic and that it isn't the real presence didn't come around until, at best the 1600s. And I'm going, I will get back to you. But yeah, it took about a year for me to just come to the place fully that I had to say, I'm either arrogant enough to where what all I've seen and all the things I've had explained to me and all the questions I've asked, where I'm going to turn away and go, I'm right, despite being shown that 1500 years minimum of Christians are unanimously agreeing about this. I'm arrogant enough to say, oh, they're all wrong and I'm correct. And, once I got to that point, I was like, I definitely don't know it more than the church fathers. But I would say, obviously, it was 2020. It was a very weird time to become a catechumen. So it felt like a necessity in some regards. There was definitely a little bit. I mean, you guys all went through 2020. It was weird. I didn't know how bad things were going to get, especially when my priest baptized me a couple months early, because he was like, yeah, I don't know how bad things are going to get, and I want you to be spiritually. I want you to be baptized in case things get worse. So it was about 5 months early that I got baptized, but it was about a year and 7 months from inquirer becoming a catechumen for like 7 months and then being baptized, you know, five months early in my catechumenate. Yeah, it was definitely like too long. Didn't read Jordan Peterson, Dostoevsky, Peugeot, Parish, Parish Priest, Paris, Parish Priest, decimating me, just using me as a punching bag at every catechist class. And even once I was convinced of orthodoxy, I mean, it took a more. I mean, it's a process. It takes longer than being convinced. Um, I've read about the Seventh Council. I've had all my questions about it, and I understand why we do the sign of the cross, or why Orthodox Christians do that. I understand icons and iconodulia and veneration, and I wouldn't do it. It's not something I grew up with. It's not my tradition, but I understand it, and I understand why the Church Council says we should do it. And then that I was there mentally, actually thinking that, like, oh, that's weird. I wouldn't do that. And then at a certain point, I'm like, well, I believe this. Why would I? Am I being disobedient for not doing it just because it feels weird? So I would do it, as a almost like a LARP. Like I didn't know exactly when to do it during the liturgy. I'll just do it when I see other people, and eventually, just it doesn't even take that long, like a month or two, and you're doing it sincerely. There is definitely a form of fake it till you make it. Um, yeah, I'm glad I'm not on crack or meth either. My hardest drug I've ever had was LSD. That was my uh, gateway drug. I was a straight edge good boy until I took LSD. Yep. I listened to a Protestant podcast talk about the benefits of microdosing LSD, and like that weekend I did it. I think with 2020, it's interesting where we are now because things have died down so much, and they could all. I mean, I feel like we all should expect that things will get crazy again. And I remember, I think it was like the summer of 2021. I think so. I remember tons of my friends were like at a pool party and everybody's talking about how glad they are that the lockdowns are lifted and oh my gosh, I never want to go back to that. And I'm sitting there like at the time in the pool, be like, dude, fall comes around, everything's getting locked up again. Everything going right back the way it was. And then it happened. It happened, and all my friends. Uh, I mean, a lot of my friends didn't see it coming, but to me, it was pretty obvious. Yep, the devil is working. Armor up. Um, it's all we can do. I mean, I've got friends like, yeah, X, Y, and Z thing about the modern world is really crazy. And if certain people wanted me dead, I'm sure they could do it, no problem. So I'm just gonna live my life, and maybe I'll die. That's fine. That's fine. I mean, what am I gonna do about it? What about you, Big T? I know that you said your work is in catching PDF files. That is your day job. Do you get funding for that? You probably answer all these questions in the Discord already, but I imagine the pedophiles aren't gonna pay you. Like, ah, you got me. Here you go. I'll pay up. Where's all our homies at? Yeah, you get funding looking into policing now. Okay. RCMP to be exact. I don't know what that is. Royal. Oh, you're Canadian. Are you a natural born Canadian? How do you be a Canadian catching PDFs? Do you have to? I mean, do you feel like you should be nice to them even though they are what they are? Do you say sorry whenever you catch them? Yeah, sorry about this, but yeah, you know what you're doing. Come on, that's not a great Canadian accent. I gotta hear it sometimes to do the accents or the impressions. Well, um, I do think we lost something as a society when we got rid of the gallows. I think they were probably a good tool to keeping everything in line. I think you're definitely less likely to do things when you see the consequences right there. I don't know. Is somebody else? Are other people streaming right now? Is that why we got no homies in here? If so, I mean that's probably my bad for. Yeah, Cotel's live right now. I don't know who else is. Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of terrible things in the world. Got a couple people say they'll hang out. Crucible has a debate later. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out. I would like to do more streams. I've got a handful of ideas of actual fun things to do other than just hanging out. But I thought hanging out, just talking to the chat would be cool to just start somewhere. I just want to get started. Yeah, I've been doing those shorts for like a month or something now, and I've just got a bunch of ideas. Whenever I get the ball rolling on something, just more and more ideas come to me. I'm definitely pretty good at like being an idea man. It's the follow through that's always hard for me. Just having the discipline, but coming up with new things, that's very easy. So I've got a handful of streams that I think will just be fun to do. That yeah, but I don't have much experience in. I don't know how bad this mic is, especially with the pop filter. I'll try. I don't know if I can. I can probably switch mics midstream. I'll do a test tonight with my actual good mic from the garage. I'd show you me idea book. You got an idea book? I've had them before. I'm just very unorganized on my phone now. I use the notes and I need to get organized. I've got like 30 different notes on my phone that I just put the bubbles or whatever the lost the word. The dots where each one has a dot. I do that and I just write ideas as they come to me. And that's not enough. It's gonna be untenable because I'm already at like 200 extra ideas for the atheist shorts. Yeah, but definitely hanging out stream, trying to get myself up to speed on how streaming works. Probably not too hard, but I'd like to have less boomer moments while I'm trying to do something a little more effort in. Probably should have remember to take those things off. We got somebody else hanging out. Is this you, Gruss? What is your? Who is that on your Discord? I wanted to say it was like what's it called? Freud. I don't think that it is. Feel free to chat. We're just hanging out. Trying to think of like when to do these. Tuesdays and Wednesdays are typically my best. Well, Tuesdays I have like a band practice thing, so I won't be able to do the streams until a little bit later. But my wife works on Tuesdays and Wednesdays until like 5:30. So these are good days for me to have a couple hours, hang out, and not have the responsibility of helping with the kiddo. Present. I saw my wife showed me this one thing. Let me expand my realm of competency here. Get your guys' take on this. You may have heard of these twins. Boom. You may have heard of these twins like a decade ago or something like that. They had a video of them jumping around having fun. They got married recently. And I've got questions. I've never had to think about what the morality of conjoined twins getting married is. What do you guys think? Because I mean, I believe he's married to one of them, but how can he be married to one of them and not both of them? If he gets divorced to the one that he's married with, would I don't know, would the other one be like, well, now he's free? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, do they both have to consent? I mean, they one can't choose to not be present. Do they use sleeping pills? Am I being insensitive? Am I being insensitive? Unsensitive? Am I unfeeling? Don't know. I don't know. But I don't know how this works. I feel like they got to get another guy. The other one's got to get married. But which one do you guys think is the one that's married? Okay, wait. No, that's easy. The one that's happy. That's the one that's married, obviously. The other one, yeah, the other one's like, gosh, we had a good thing going. We were just, having fun as kids. I was using my arm, you were using your arm. We were figuring it out, and um, that's it's definitely a unique situation. It's a different couple, different. Uh, I'm gonna stop scrolling. Is it considered polygamy or incest? Well, they only have one set of like torso down. I don't even know what is like the legality. What is the marriage certificate look like? Do they have to be like, is it like real estate or something? Or did they have to have like a percentages that it's agreed upon? 50% of her torso down has to be the sisters. I think they actually have control of one like arm and one leg. Like one has this one and the other one has this one. So maybe he's married to this arm but not this arm. I don't. But like, does she not? Is she not able to get married because of this? Are neither of them allowed to get married? I mean, they got married. Obviously, they're allowed, but just trying to think of the implications. It's definitely interesting conundrum. Whew. You have questions to say the least. Yeah. Because You could just have a normal like brother-in-law, sister-in-law relationship. That's not possible. that's not. I don't know. Oh, somebody, other people joined in. Let me just see if anybody has any thoughts, any questions. Let me pull it back up. All right. For anybody new jumping in, we got like 3 people here now. I don't know what to make of this. I just have questions. If you guys, how do you feel about conjoined twins getting married? Um, can you guess which one is married? I believe one is not and the other one is. I feel like the answer is pretty obvious, but what do you guys think? Anybody else in the chat want to 50-50? Yeah. I mean, a divorce could get really hairy because I mean, if do they split 3 ways? If they get divorced, does he get like a third of everything and they get 2/3? I mean, but the other one's not married, so but it's I mean it's like you got to say they kind of are married, but they kind of aren't because they are their body is literally married to the other guy, to the guy. I don't know. I don't have the answers. I just have the questions. What if one head has a disagreement with the other? I'm sure that, I mean, sibling rivalry and sibling relations can be interesting when you're not attached to the other person. So I'm sure they have had to figure out a system. But introducing another person into the mix in marriage, that's a whole new ball game. If one head attacks the other and gets the cops called, who goes to jail? I mean, they both do, right? They can't get restraining orders on one another. I mean, picture if one went to jail and the other didn't, and with the visitation, what that would look like. Punish the victim. You can't punish part of the victim. I don't know. I don't even know if you can do like a slap on the wrist or something. Wouldn't the other one feel the pain too? This is quite the conundrum. I'm definitely not qualified to make the verdict. I picture being a priest and having conjoined twins as your spiritual children. Like that'd be quite the minefield to have to navigate. You're already getting a lawyer? Like you're are you gonna sue somebody? Are you what are you trying to start beef on somebody else's behalf? By the power of Christ, I have issues with this and they need to be sorted out. A court of law needs to figure it out, please. I don't want to look at it anymore. It's hurting my head. You need to know what happens in these circumstances. You need to know what the lawyer would say. I think now we need to talk about what a need is and what a want is, and what's the difference. Big T, what's the difference? Big T, you hanging out for tomorrow's stream? You can help me write some songs? That's never fun. No, it's going on my tobacco. It's like not lighting up. Well, Big T, should we continue the therapy sesh? Do you have any other questions? If it's gonna keep you up all night, it's a need. Therefore, the lawyers need to answer what would happen if one head attacks the other. All right, I expect you to help me write. We want to write lyrics and chord progressions and see if we can bang out a couple songs. I don't know if you smoke at all, but I've had this tobacco. I don't smoke enough because all my tobacco dries out, and I this tobacco shop lady pushed this puck thing on me. You put water in it, and then you put it in your tin, and it's supposed to resuscitate it, and now it just won't even light. I like cigars too. I like pipes and then cigars, and I don't even touch cigarettes. I don't understand cigarettes. Okay, I think I'm finally lit. Yeah, cigars and whiskey. Do you like scotch? I like scotch. Yeah, you like scotch. I like scotch too. Uh, I never drank really until I was 21. I'd had like maybe 3 sips of whiskey that my dad would give me when I had a sore throat. But other than that, I didn't drink anything until I was 21. So I am not as versed in it as a lot of my peers. Scotch and steak. I'm definitely gonna have scotch and steak on Pascha, dude. Sorry for the mic bump. Whew. Oh, this thing's still up. See, not paying attention. You have anything you want me to pull up? Any other interesting things? I definitely had that. I thought that would be spicy, especially if we had more people in here to help suss out the details. I'm waiting on to see what your lawyer says. Oh, you have a whiskey scotch cigar collection. See, I can't keep that stuff around. I'll share it. I'll get like a new scotch. Like, hey, I got this Lagavulin. You guys want to try it? And it just doesn't stay around. It doesn't stick around long enough. I'd have to buy some and then just like hide it from myself, and wait till it has a stash, and then I could start having a sip here and a couple fingers there. Otherwise, it's just I buy one and then I drink it for 3-4 months and then I buy another one. I'm not a very good drinker. One thing, like with cigars and tobacco in general, I don't smoke that much. But I've been smoking for like a decade now. Just friends hand me cigars or whatever. I buy some sometimes, and I couldn't tell you much about cigars. Still, like I couldn't tell you the names of them or anything about them. I have one. I'm like, that's a good cigar. I don't look at the label. Don't look at anything. So I can't tell you like anything about it. Or I couldn't even find one that I like again. Could never find that. You have a Batman decanter. Interesting. I feel like I'm going now. Yes. Spark my ganja, young hobbit. You prefer flavored cigars, chocolate or orange? That's strange to me. I mean, maybe there'd be a couple good ones, but I feel like whenever I've had one something like that, it's got the sugar cap on it, and I hate the sugar on it. Just ugh. But I like pipes, and I like cigars for this too, where it forces you to take a step back and just enjoy the pipe, enjoy the cigar for half an hour, 45 minutes, whatever. Pipes, I like them because they're a bit more flexible. You can decide how much to put in. You can light up another bowl if you want. And I've never had like way too much to nicotine with a pipe, but sometimes I'll be given a cigar and it's just way stronger than I'm used to. And I feel like my tolerance for cigars has gotten lower. I used to just be able to smoke 2 cigars in an evening and be fine. Now have get like halfway through a cigar, I'm like, man, that's hitting me. It was just like trying to. I'm kind of looking at Instagram and Discord. I don't even know how to. Oh, hello, Ras. Hello. I forgive you, but you are being punished. Go see HR for your new set of pamphlets. You've never had a pipe, but if I did, I'd feel like a rocking chair and a porch with a lake view. So I've got the porch here, and we moved our rocking chair. I'm from the south. You have to have rocking chairs. You got to have porches, and it's just a requirement. But we moved the rocking chair inside because this dang awning is awful. It leaks everywhere, and I've tried to figure it out. But I've had people come look at it like, yeah, it was just built wrong. You got to tear it down, build another one. So I have these rain boots. I just I take them off on the porch. I go inside. I woke up this morning. I was gonna go do yard work, and they're full of water because it was just dripping right into my rain boots. So that's fun. I don't have a lake view, but I do have a river view. I do have a mountain view. Hello, Subject 56. Subject 56, execute Order 66. Subject 56, have you ever heard of the band Project 86? It's quite good. If anybody's watching, go look at their newest albums, Omni Part 1 and Omni Part 2. Quite good if you like heavy music. They're concept albums about AI and the elites, and they are actively in the songs are ushering in a new age with the Antichrist becoming one with humanity through technology. Anyways, hey, Subject 86, 56, how you doing? I went out. Dang it. Don't ever buy these. There's like $6. I shouldn't have done it. The lady was like, oh, you need one of these. All right. Don't do it. What does work is you take an apple and you get a couple apple slices and you leave them in your tobacco tin for like a day or two. Make sure you take them out before they get gross, and your tobacco will be good as new. Do that. Apples are way cheaper than this piece of garbage. All right, Ras, do you have any cavities? Aren't cigars bad for your lungs? You don't breathe them into your lungs, bro. You breathe them into your mouth, man. Your lungs and your mouth ain't the same thing, now are they? You got the braces. You got to put them on. I had braces. Yeah. I had a jaw expander in 4th grade and other stuff. What happens in the dentist office stays in the dentist office. I mean, yeah, you can still get the nicotine, entering in through your mouth, but you don't inhale it. Doesn't go into your lungs. Doesn't mess up your bronchi. And take it or leave it. I believe a study like a couple years ago, the FDA said that you could smoke like 2 cigars a day and be totally fine. The effects or the chances of jaw cancer or anything like that were negligible. So if you trust that source, I could probably try to pull that up. I remember seeing that and be like, oh, cigars are good, but I don't trust these people. Maybe they're just trying to get me to get jaw cancer. How do I know? Yeah, you just let it in your mouth. You just with the pipe version. My other tin had I tried the apple trick for the first time. I tried this thing, and I grabbed the tin that had that. Awful. I might just go inside and grab the tin that had the apple in it. That tobacco's doing just fine. Now this is like it got soggy. It's not lighting. Yeah, Ras. So all you do is just they call it sipping. You just sip. Yahweh, Yahweh, yeah. I might actually breathe in it if I try to do that. It stays in your mouth. Ugh. Except when you do the breathe. What do they call it? Breathologists? Breathy schizos. That is quite manly. Give your dad a big high five and a cigar next time you see him. I don't know what the laws are over in the Caribbean. Can you just go in and buy a cigar as a minor? Do they have minors there? Or you just all got to grow up fast? My conception of the Caribbean comes exclusively from Pirates of the Caribbean, and maybe I read the is the Caribbean real? That is I've never been there. I've never seen it. I don't believe nothing I can't see or touch. I ain't touched it. Can you put the Caribbean in my hand? I'll believe it if you can put it in my hand. Now they have laws where you need to buy a pack of cigarettes? Why? What? It's compulsory to buy cigarettes there? Like, oh yeah, it's we know how hard it is to live here in the Caribbean. We know you guys need it. We're not gonna give them away for free. You gotta buy them, but you have to buy them. We know you need it. I went like Alex Jones there. What's a Caribbean accent? I don't even know. Do the Captain Jack Sparrow? You need to buy your cigarettes. It's kind of like a Creole Jamaican. You need to buy your cigarettes. You go into jail, and then they give you the cigarettes there. One way or the other, you're gonna get the cigarettes. Is their economy based off of cigarettes? Is like the whole is an island? I don't even know. Is it islands? The Caribbeans, yeah. So islands, right? Is it a cigarette based economy? You need to be 21 to buy cigarettes, but you have to buy cigarettes. So you guys, you guys use cigarettes as money then, right? Like so you can't even buy nothing till you're 21. You'd go to the store and be like, I need to buy groceries, and they're like, sir, you're underage. You can't buy cigarettes. You can't use cigarettes, and that's how you pay for things here. So I'm sorry, but I'm not going to be able to give you these bananas. Yeah, but it's like prison Prison Islands, right? It's like Escape from New York, Escape from LA. All your economy is cigarettes. Forget what you said earlier, but then it's less funny. Ras. I like to think that you guys are just in prison islands and you guys have cigarettes and your wallet is just a pack of cigarettes. Like, I gotta go pick up the eggs and milk on the way home. Shoot. I'm gonna have to pick up the milk on the way home. I only got 2 cigarettes on me. And life's so bad, you might smoke one of them, and then you can't afford the milk. Your economy is tourism. Yeah, lots of island countries are tourist based. Lots of tropical places, right? I went to New Zealand for my honeymoon, and tourism, the biggest thing. I mean, we were there, part of fueling that economy. Check out the RIU Hotel in Aruba. It's amazing. You're gonna go? You're for real gonna go? Is it a sting operation? Are you gonna bust somebody? RIU in Aruba. All right, let's pull it up here. But it was pretty cool to go to New Zealand. I feel like me and my wife got there right before everything shut down. It was like September of 2019, so we just barely lucked out before things went insane. You got a big egg chalet thing. You guys got TVs there. How many cigarettes does a TV cost? How much cigarettes you got to pay to get into this place? That's got to be a whole carton at least. I mean, if you had a cigarette-based economy, inflation would be good because then you have more cigarettes. Am I? So I mean, that's pretty. That's pretty. You're going to this place? It's definitely better than any place I've seen in Florida. That big old plaza thing. That's a big fountain. Looks like. Now you're gonna eat and drink like a fatty. Well, good on you, mate. Enjoy your time. Your accent is, you can say it's probably a mix between Spanish and Portuguese. Search Ton Lee 1000. Is that like your version of the T1000? Ton Lee 1000? You guys have different movies? You guys have like your own Bollywood? That'd be fun. I don't know. I don't know how this works yet. This is. Oh, it's a artist. All right. Could be a Boomertech moment happening here soon. Just forgive me. 1,000 cigs for a TV, man. Don't search. What was the 1,000, dude? Don't search it with the 1,000. Big Boomertech moment might be happening. I'm gonna see if just hitting the sound on will make it where you guys can hear. Let me know if you can hear it. I don't know what I'm doing. It says it's unmuted, and let's go. Can you hear this? Am I gonna get hit with copyright? This is dope. Is this like your shoegaze kind of music in the Caribbean? You ever heard of shoegaze? Oh. All right. I was expecting some vocals because we were talking about the accent, and that's pretty dope instrumentation. But am I supposed to look up interviews of him for an accent? Ton Lee interview. Ton English? That was his name, right? Tony Lee. Is that what you said? Tonley. You just said Ton, not Tony. Am I on the wrong person? I'm on the wrong person, aren't I? Well, thanks for jamming with that. Did you even know that band, Ross? Did you know him? Was that just totally out of left field for all of us? Is it this lady? Tongli? That's Tongli. Dude, you're derailing me. Tonley. I'm gonna Google it. I don't know. It's not coming up on Google. It's not coming up on YouTube. Tonley. Online calculator. It has no idea what you're trying to get me to do, dude. Is there a easier way to hear a Caribbean accent? Could I just like look up Caribbean accent, dude? Can you send me a link in the Discord? Put Aruba behind it. All right. Supermarket? It's a no, dude. What are you doing? Should I look it back up on YouTube? Are you doing this on purpose? Are you doing this to me? Are you derailing me? All right. Caribbean accent. Is this you?
When you read your call packet, if you're called English speaking, you're like, oh, like that's crazy.
This
I'm
dude
going
ain't from the
foreign, but I'm
Caribbean.
English speaking. And you get to the mission field, and you.
All right, dude. Oh, he's gonna give. He's a missionary kid. He's gonna give a.
So the phrase essentially like.
When Guyanese go to the bank. Good afternoon. I just want to deposit something in. Okay, will that be all, sir? No, tell that data they are like shit. No, I can't do that, sir. Well, you could fucking charge me when I overdraft.
Ooh,
Carry your
sorry, buddy.
scunt and tell the girl I like shit. I got money. Hey.
You probably couldn't understand what he said, but he said a cuss word. That's why I apologize. Yeah, it's you just sound like Captain Jack Sparrow. I give you 20 cigarettes. You guys want to help me interpret some of the comments I get on my my shorts? There's some funny ones, dude. There's ones I don't even know. I don't even know what to do with them. Let me pull them up here. All right. These get pretty funny. Oh my gosh, that's my friend Dallas. Bro. I haven't seen this guy in years. Okay. Sometimes weird prots will just show up. Not often, but sometimes. The God haters are off in their indoctrination. Study up! Our Creator can undo hydrogen fusion in the core of the sun. Let there be light. Start there for a true fact of life. What? What? Andrew on the Crucible in 2 hours? All right. I mean, I'm just hanging out. Is all I got planned, and I'm probably just gonna do like chores or whatever after this. So I'm good to hang out until then. But yes. ... Not even a full ... Our forefathers did destroy anyone that went against our creator, pagan kind. You guys got anything? You guys got anything with that? To me, that's I don't know what to make of any of that. Let me try to. I got an atheist to say he actually laughed, because that's a pretty common atheist comment is, "This isn't funny. I'm not laughing. You're just mean. I'm not gonna laugh. You're not funny. You don't know what comedy is." But then there's probably prots or Catholics or whatever that are commenting saying that that's funny. So maybe people can't just take a joke. We'll go through some of these, but there's one specifically. All right, here. Let's help me reply to this one. This one was the genetic fallacy one with the Darwin's fish, and then it's the Christian's fish. So Christianity, atheism is actually a Christian religion. It's the genetic fallacy. He said, "Are you being serious? This is basic comparative religion. Atheism is not a religion, though. Atheism is a Christian religion. This is what you would learn in Comparative Religion 101 course. You can't be serious right now. Atheism is just the absence of belief in any particular deity or religion. It has nothing to do with Christianity specifically." All right, help me reply to this guy, you guys. As I have demonstrated in this video, atheism is fundamentally, oh my gosh, fundamentally, that's all right. You guys are gonna see my lack of spelling on the air. I feel like it's gotten worse since like autocorrect and all that. It's made me worse at spelling. Atheism is fundamentally a Christian religion. The evidences all point to this. You may not like it, but history, capitalized, is clear and closed for discussion. Satanism is a Christian religion as well. I had somebody, I can show you that comment too. I had one guy kind of posting something weird about it, about Satanism. It's kind of out of left field. The video had nothing to do with Satanism, and you start talking about Satanism. Anything else I should add to this? I do hope this clears things, clears any misconceptions you may have had. Yeah, that's good. Unless you guys got something funny to add. Dude, what are you saying? I'm so confused. This guy has never had a discussion with anybody who knows anything. Tell him to come back home. Tell him to come back home. I'll wait to see him reply, and we'll go from there. All atheists and most of the Christians are misguided. Science is not a religion, it's undisputed fact. Wait, was this? Oh my gosh, you guys see this one where I'm clearly not reading from the book? I'm just staring at the camera and saying stuff because atheists love to, through their own interpretive measures, create fabrications of what's in the Bible. And I did that with Charles Darwin, and this guy's like, "Dude, it's not in there." Oh, I haven't replied to this guy. We'll go back to that. We'll go back to that. I want to find a specific one that makes me laugh pretty hard. This one keeps me up at night. Should have had it pulled up. It's pretty. I don't actually know which freaking videos people are. This is the Satanist one. Which people are actually commenting on. I sometimes just to be able to make the comment better, I watch the video again so I can be like, what are they even talking about here? Where are you? Where's that really funny quote? Really funny comment. Bear with me, y'all. No. How would you go about disproving atheism? I would demonstrate the impossibility because it is a self-contradictory, oh my gosh, dictory worldview. And because it's self-contradictory, self-defeating worldview, it logically cannot be true. That's my claim, and we'll wait for him to. I like to just make the bold assertions, like you hear all the atheists all the time. And in these comments, I'm always, most of the time, and 80% of the time, I'm still in character, and nobody realizes it. And I like to just make the claim and wait for them to push back, and then I'll give arguments. But I'll definitely wait for the ball to come back to my court, into my side of the court. Oh my gosh, where is this? Yeah, this is a weird one. This man is not a Christian. Bold claim. Where is it? I'm sorry again, guys. I'll find it here, and it'll be worth the wait. It's pretty funny. Oh my gosh, where is it? A lot of these are funny enough to go through, but I didn't pass it, did I? Oh my gosh, wait. Yes, here it is. Okay, let's watch the video so we can get the context. No. What have I done? Okay, well, it's here. Let's view it. Can you guys? Gosh, my gosh, can you guys see it? Let me go back. Nope, I'm not on there yet. Share this tab. All right. So watch this video and then read the comment. All right.
Well, I spent my entire lifetime asking questions. Yeah, everybody's ignorant to some extent, but atheists alone seem to be complacent in this. Why am I a Christian?
All right. So that was like a direct quote from a comment I saw, and this is the comments that we got. Let me check the chat before we get into it. Enough with the atheist prattle. Give some real arguments. My dirt is the beginning of life. Ask the atheist to explain choice and feelings. Yeah, I mean, you're just gonna get salad. Oh, Ras, are you leaving? We're about to get in this funny comments. All right, well, come back to it later, or go to this video and look at the comments. Are pretty funny. See ya, dude. The point you think you are in a God image got me some clues. The point you think you are in a God image got me some clues. Clues? Is there a mystery? None. All was clear. No clues? Where did your clues go? To the bathroom, drain your godly body, was resting maybe. Am I talking to an AI? Who is this person? Who is this person? My godly body. You said all was clear, but it's becoming more mysterious by the minute. Oh, and hey, Big T, you jump in. The F you on about Caesar Iglesias, clean out your bong, then type. You don't know that clues give information that helps you find the answer to some problem. Well, there you go, folks. There you go. I was pretty sure I knew what a clue was. I grew up watching Blue's Clues, but it's good to see your working definition for clarity's sake. So what problem are we talking about? Why you not notice Mr. Westford bong antics? I can show you a video if you don't believe me. I would love to see which video he's talking about. Is he talking about my old sketches? I mean, that would make sense. But so tell me what happened when any clue after you clear the problem or get the answers. You watch Blue's Clues, so you know we can do anything that we want to do. We can do anything that we want to do. Oh my gosh. Who was this? Who is this person? I should have replied and kept it going, but I thought that was just that was a great ending. Whew. Man. The point you think you were in a god image got me some clues. That comment just will play in my head sometimes, like that's pretty funny. Whew. If evolution real, why biological man not have kids? I mean, if evolution real, why genitals? If evolution real, why sexual reproduction? Why not just continue on being hermaphroditic? The fairy tale don't make no sense, dude. Fairy tale don't make no sense. Whew. I don't know if that was as funny for you guys as it was for me, but that guy's comments, that got me. Why nubs? Why nubs? Why? Oh, gosh. So he's talking to the nubs. The little girl's talking to nubs. Cindy Lou Who's saying, "Why nubs? Why?" Well, this nub doesn't work quite right. It's it's just not functional. But I'm going to take it to my nub workshop and make sure it's straight. And maybe we'll get to 2/8 of a nub. Won't that be good, little Cindy? Go on to bed, get your glass of water. Whew. A lot of my when I do a voice because I'm doing something else, it's not sexual reproduction between two individuals help to amplify the genetic fund, which gives more chances of survival for the kids. Yeah, but that just doesn't tell us how. That's telling us the mechanism, the stated mechanism of the worldview, but it's not telling us how we actually got to that. Because if evolution was true, which it is not, they would have to account for some jump between hermaphrodites who do not need to find a sexual partner and have all of the genetic material within themselves to survive. Why they would go from that to evolving two separate genders, two sexes that need to find each other and then reproduce. I understand you think that it's to have more genetic diversity, but it simply doesn't. It doesn't. You don't actually get to that part yet, because stating when I'm asking about the mechanism and I am trying to parse out how the mechanism works, and you just say, oh, that the mechanism works, doesn't tell me how it works. How did the mechanism come about? How did we get to sexual reproduction? Oh, sexual reproduction works. I understand that we have sexual reproduction in the world now, yes. It's a very common thing that evolutionists will say. You're like, how did the various species evolved to the point they're in now. How did that mechanically happen? And you'll hear, oh, that there are different species. What? That there are different species is how we know that they evolved to different species, because there are different species. It's like, oh, all right, dude. Diego Alves, I encourage you to go check out some Jim Bob, made by Jim Bob. He has a lot of really good internal critiques of evolution. A lot of ones I hadn't considered before. I was just in the camp of presupping evolution, because I think a lot of the founding presuppositions that people build an evolutionary worldview on top of were faulty and were contradictory and didn't make sense. So I would just attack that. But seeing Jim Bob really get into the nitty gritty and discuss and argue with actual evolutionists, and seeing how far short they come up in their own worldview with answering these questions, genuine questions. I mean, if this is really how life came about, and this is really how we got to the status of how things are now, you feel like there'd be better answers than there are. But you usually get a lot of incredulity. You get a lot of you're a science denier. This people who call you a science denier are typically the people that aren't the ones asking the questions and trying to understand. They just know the dogma that they have, and they're sticking to it, and they will never question it, because big science has told them that they will not question it, or else you will be considered a science denier, and you wouldn't want that, now would you? No, you would not. But science is the study of the natural world, and I think science is great. It's pretty cool. A lot of cool stuff comes from science, and a lot of really dumb stuff comes from scientism. Can you help me define what a blood sports debate is? Let's look up, see if a definition comes, but I can give you what my take is. I've only really heard Andrew and Jim Bob say that. Blood sports debate. Blood sports should be banned. Well, I'm not going to click on any of those, because I don't think it's the same thing. I don't want to see some gross stuff. Science is the study of God's creation, right? And what is the status of God's creation? It's in a fallen state. So when you just use empiricism and you just use natural theology and the like, where you look at your starting point is the natural world, you're going to come to faulty conclusions, because it's in a fallen state. There are things that are unnatural about the natural world, and if you assume them to be natural, then you will come up with incorrect assumptions. Incorrect conclusions will come from those incorrect assumptions. But a blood sport debate, I assume the way that they're using that term is they're not pulling punches. They are just going through the throat, and it's going to get contentious. And if somebody makes a fallacy, like you ask a question, how did this happen? And then somebody's like, well, because scientists say that, and they all agree on it. And like, okay, well, that's just appeal to authority and appeal to consensus. Can you tell me? It's okay if they come to that conclusion, but can you tell me about the conclusion, and can you give me a reason why? And like, well, science, and it's like reiterating their point, and they're not actually making an argument, they're just reiterating things. And I guess blood sport would be like, you do not let up on them, you just go for the throat. And whereas a normal kind of chill debate or discussion, or maybe some debates, you would let the person talk, and you would let them say a bunch of fallacies, and you just wait for your turn to speak. But I guess they're saying blood sports is, no, I'm not going to let you say a bunch of bull crap. I'm just not going to let it happen. I'm going to be a jerk. The first animals in the water were kinds of prehistoric. Let's make sure I understand that word. Prehistoric. Is that just prehistoric? Just because I don't know a word, don't mean I'm dumb. Belonging to or existing in times before recorded history. Okay, that's what I thought it was. Prehistoric. The first animals in the water were kinds of prehistoric jellyfish who came from a plant that is actually an animal but that reproduces like, and hermaphroditic that stalked to the bottom of the ocean. That's a pretty cool story, but doesn't make it real just because you can tell a story. That's another thing about evolution, is that what is the scientific method? It is observation, right? You need observation to be able to have a hypothesis and to test. And can you please give me the observation of the first animals in the water being prehistoric jellyfish? Can you please use the scientific method to demonstrate that? If you presupp that there is no God, then it leads to meaninglessness and cumin. Yeah, it does lead to a bunch of cumin, and cumin tastes pretty good. I like it on a taco. Yeah, Diego. Am I saying your name right? That isn't how I usually see Diego. Diogo. Am I saying your name right? The first animals were jellyfish who came from a plant. The plant wasn't actually a plant. It was nutritional animal gunk on the bottom of the ocean. Is this what you're saying is the official narrative, or is this this is your understanding? Those same jellyfish developed a way to not need to reproduce through that plant, so they needed to release their reproductive cells. I don't exactly know how, but they developed ways to reproduce. I mean, this is, again, if you're coming at it with the presupposition, the point of view, the glasses, that evolution is true, because that's your starting position. That's how you're going to look at things in the past. We don't have access to the past, and we can only make so much progress on the past and how to interpret it. But we have to make tons and tons and tons of assumptions to be able to say that jellyfish don't need to reproduce through that plant that was not a plant. So they needed to release their reproductive cells, but you don't know how they did that. You don't know how that developed. And you seem like a pretty normal guy. You don't seem you're not cussing me out in the comments or anything. But yeah, like to get to that narrative of jellyfish and plants that aren't plants, you need to have the starting point of evolution is true, and then you work your way backwards going, well, this must have happened, and that must have happened, and this must have happened, and the jellyfish liked the plants, and the plants weren't really plants. Like, you have to just, it's not based on evidence. It's not. My source comes from a documentary that is on Netflix. It's called A Life on Our Planet, I think, but I'm not sure any of the name. It's really cool. Explains everything about evolution. I mean, I'd be interested into watching it. I want to find the truth. I want to seek the truth, and I am not convinced by evolution in the least. You don't agree with science deniers. Everyone is entitled to their opinion, and you don't agree with science deniers. I would say I'm not a science denier. I would say that people who believe in evolution and push it, they have agendas, and they are absolutely not doing science, but they are doing philosophy, and I just disagree with their philosophy. This is what's commonly called scientism. It's not real science. It is conjecture. It's over extrapolation. It is not using the scientific method. But I'd be interested in watching that documentary and seeing what it has to say. I mean, so even in this comment, me not agreeing with the official narrative that is just assumed as fact, they call it a theory and a fact, that doesn't make me a science denier. What do I think about fossils? I mean, obviously, I don't agree with the evolutionary interpretation of the fossils, but they're interesting to think about, interesting to postulate things about, and that's all evolution has, is postulation, trying to look at it and trying to rationalize it. But like we don't have access to the past, so they're only going to be able to come up with stories. But what do I think about fossils in general? The fossil record. Scientism is very faith-based as well. It worships the golden folder. For anyone listening that doesn't know about the golden folder, made by Jim Bob, has this concept called the golden folder, where these people who are truthers, they think they're looking for the truth, and they think if they can just find this truth, then it's going to make everything right in the world and everything right in their life. So they're looking for this platonic golden folder that's out in space, and once they get that, they can be like, look, this fact, therefore everything will go to normal and we can live our lives. But you have to live your life. A fact isn't going to help you live your life. So what do you believe in actuality, and what is your explanation for our existence? I would believe in the Orthodox Christian worldview, so I believe in the creation account of Genesis. But with that, I'm sure you have lots of questions on that, about, is it 6 real literal days, or is it more than that? And those are, to me, a little bit of hair splitting. I think young Earth makes just as much, if not more, sense than old Earth. And you might think that's crazy. We have carbon dating and all of that. But in people who, if you look at carbon dating, they'll say how unreliable it is. They'll say it's like throwing they use some analogy that was just like shooting like a gun 30 miles away at a target, and you don't even know where the target is. And that's like how accurate it is. That's not to say that it is wrong, or that there isn't ancient age in the Earth. You believe in God, but you also believe in the Big Bang. Okay. You got a question, Ras? Let me unpack this a little bit, and then I'll get to your question. You can go ahead and type it. To me, I don't see any contradiction in God creating something that has age baked into it. Like Adam was a man, but he wasn't conceived in his mother's wombs and then gestated and then born and then grew up and had a childhood. He was a man without a childhood. He was created with age, but he didn't actually live that childhood. He was just created with that age. Like when God created the garden, he created everything. He created forests that had grown trees, but they weren't necessarily seeds going in the ground that grew up. He created something that had age kind of baked into it, if that makes sense. But that age didn't necessarily have to happen. And I don't see, I've never really seen any great argument against that, other than just carbon dating. But even carbon dating, kind of hard to get away from circularity there, because how do we know carbon dating is reliable? Because carbon dating tells us, it's not that I've looked into it crazy, but I know apparently one of the best carbon dating is supposed to be, gosh, I was just talking about this with my friend. It's how something turns to lead. You guys might know more than me, but it's like one element given billions of years would turn, or a long time would turn into another element. And we have a couple examples of this element turning into that element, and we think that it has to have all this age for it to happen. But if the Earth was created with age, then there would be things that would be turning into that element because they had that time baked in. And yeah, I don't see, to know something's wrong, to know that it cannot be true, to falsify it, to people say like Christianity is not falsifiable, so it's just blind faith. If a worldview is self-contradictory, if something makes mutually exclusive claims, then you can be like, well, it's an impossibility. It violates the law of logic. Let me get some of these question things here. Carbon dating relies on the fossil record, and the fossil record relies on carbon dating. Dr. Kent Hovind goes into this in his creation seminaries. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's hard with using carbon dating. It's hard not to just be stuck in circularity. I'm guessing Big Bang is not something you believe. What is your explanation for the expansion? I don't necessarily reject Big Bang. I would say the thing I would reject about Big Bang is that it came about naturalistically, without a cause, without a creator. I believe this is where you have to be precise in your words. I believe creation came ex nihilo. That means from nothing. So God created everything from nothing. Matter is not eternal, like some ancient philosophers speculated, because if matter was eternal, if creation, would you even be able to call it that, if everything, matter, the universe was eternal and God was eternal, then there'd be like a dyad. It would be, one God is the mover and one God is the creation, and there'd be two gods there, a dichotomy. So that being said, yeah, creation ex nihilo, the triune God created everything from nothing. If that's the Big Bang, then I'm fine with that. I don't see, if that explains the expansion, I don't see any contradictory things there. But I would say the normie scientific Reddit tier of, which is not even really an explanation, saying that everything, nothing, there was nothing, or there was either there was nothing or there was so much everything that was such tiny small little amounts that it exploded. And then you have total conjecture of, well, maybe it was other universes or dimensions collapsing in on themselves until it was so small that the pressure pop bang. I mean, that's, how can that not be anything but just total storytelling, which it might be interesting to think about, but saying that everything came from nothing in that way I don't see how that logically follows. Did we all come from incest? Ask your priest, folks. Ask your priest. I would say, given the creation count, that is kind of my understanding. But with the creation count, if we're actually going to look at it with the correct, starting to have a correct understanding of things, death entered the world through the fall, and this is why I would, oh, you don't have a priest. Email a priest. Email a priest. Get a priest on the phone and ask an actual priest questions. Or I haven't read it yet, but Father Seraphim Rose of blessed memory has a book called Creation and Early Man, and I'm sure that would have a lot of good insights if you want to figure out. I'm sure I think there's like copies online you can find, or you can try to buy a copy. But yeah, from my understanding, the Adam and Eve were the first humans, and all life came from them. And you might say, well, what about all the issues with incest that we know about now? But it's assuming that the past is the same as now, which we don't have access to the past, so we can't know that the past was the same. And if the creation account is correct, if the Orthodox Christian worldview is correct, many church fathers talk about the changes cosmically from the fall, when death entered the world, because death is not a created thing, it's totally unnatural. When it entered into the world, you see a slow progression into decay. Decay didn't all happen at once, but decay became progressed throughout time. Oh, I'm talking a lot, not reading these. Let's go. Expansion of the universe. What expansion did it actually expand, or is it just conjecture? Yeah, I haven't looked too much into that. I mean, I've heard for a long time that the scientists believe that everything in the cosmos is getting further apart. I haven't personally looked into the validity of that. I mean, that's the claim, and maybe it's valid, maybe it's not. I don't see any contradiction in that being the case in Christianity. But it's an interesting thing to think about or look into. I haven't done it, so I'm not going to speak too much on something that I don't know too much about, unless I'm just going to give you a take without any knowledge. Fossils are found in deep layers of the earth. There are rules in geology that tells us fossils are as old as the rocks they're found in, and that the deeper the rocks, the older they get. Again, yeah, but this is assuming it's assuming these things, and we don't have access to the past. I'll keep saying that. But to me, I believe there's church fathers that talk about, like, even like what we'd call the Cambrian explosion, all these different species fossils in the fossil record. That the moment Eve took a bite of that apple, that's how death entered the world, because nothing had died before that. So it was that an explanation for the Cambrian explosion, for instance, is apple is eaten, cosmically death enters the world, and because of that loss of grace, of God's grace sustaining the world, billions of species could have died in that moment of disobedience, because grace comes from God, the divine energies come from God to us, and then we would bring those divine energies of God into creation, because we were supposed to be the stewards of it. But because humanity lost that grace, creation and the universe lost that grace as well. And again, I'm a layman. I'm learning stuff too all the time, reading books. Talk to a priest. A priest is going to know way more than me. And if I make correct, I'm kind of hedging now, but um, this is my current understanding, and I'm sure I'll have a deeper understanding of these things going forward. But knowing this, how do you deny the age of fossils like that? Carbon dating is reliable enough, I think. Well, I mean, again, if creation can be created from nothing, if God can create from nothing, this didn't have a human person that, let's say, in this hypothetical to try to paint a picture, God creates this pipe. We would look at this pipe and think, wow, it must have come from Italy. I can see right here it says Italian. It's from Italy. It had to have come from a tree because this is wood, and this had to come from these certain compounds because it's made out of plastic. And men or a factory must have created it. But if God created it and it just was a new creation with time implied, then there was not a person that handcrafted this or machine crafted it in this scenario. So rocks being the same age as fossils, I don't see a contradiction to that. That's from the worldview of the universe is 14.4 billion years old, and these rocks are however many millions of years old, and these fossils seem to be the same age if our carbon dating is reliable enough for us to ascertain that fact. Then these fossils must be millions of years old because we assume that or we can say that the rocks are that old. Shut up, being a cocky cock. But I don't, because we have to assume regularity over time. We can't. I'm gonna kill that cock, dude. We can't, with 100% certainty, say that rock. You can say necessary. You may be able to say rocks and fossils are the same age, but I don't think you could say for certain how old those are, even with carbon dating, if the Christian account is true, because age could be implied in a new creation. And yeah, it's like saying it's like the problem of natural theology. If you look at, I don't know why these chickens are freaking out. You hear them? They're loud. If you're saying your starting point is the natural world and you're going to try to reason from the natural world to God, you don't have revelation that tells us that there's a fallen element to nature, and then you're going to assume things that are unnatural are natural, and then you're going to make faulty conclusions. And I think that same kind of error is happening if the Christian perspective is true. From the naturalist perspective, concluding let's even grant, that let's grant that the fossil is the same age as the rock. That might be true, but if the Christian account is correct, and like I said earlier, it can be millions of years old. It can be literal 6 days, literal 7 days. That's doesn't either way. I don't really see contradictions that would destroy the faith in any way. I think they both are valid understandings because we don't have access to the past. One has to be true when the other one doesn't. But if we don't have access to something, then I mean, we don't have access to it. I think young Earth conceptually makes more sense to me. These chickens are freaking out. But I don't. I mean, somebody who believes in old Earth isn't like a heretic or nothing. Yeah, you say this is the same age as this, but if we cannot confirm the age, or if we cannot discern the start of creation versus the implied age, then we can't say for certain what the actual age is. And even then, if it is ancient, like scientism says, then that still doesn't disprove Christianity. Again, check out Dr. Hovid. He unpacks this Evo thing better than anyone. He did a 3v1 debate in creation. Yeah, sounds pretty chatted out. I'll look that up. They say the universe is expanding faster than the speed of light. All right. I haven't heard that. It wasn't an apple, right? Well, the fruit, apple fruit. I don't, it's, again, it could be a different fruit. Doesn't an apple is a fruit. Not all fruit are apples. If you prove that it was an orange, Christianity is not false because it's an orange. Since the age of carbon dating aligns with the age of the layers, it only makes sense that the fossils are as old as they say. But again, that's assuming that the past is the same as now. We don't have access to that. So I mean, if it is that old, and we have some way of actually ascertaining that, I just don't think that saying carbon dating shows us the age tells us the actual start of, in my, because I believe in, I presuppose creation ex nihilo, that creation came about with implied age, whether it's ancient or young. I believe it has implied age. Adam was created as a man, not as a sperm and an egg, and he did not go through normal upbringing like we do. The Bible is beautiful, and you love hearing it. I agree too, and I just hope that you don't let the modernist and scientism perspective color your view of the Bible. Like I said, I love science. I think science is great. I don't have a problem with the scientific method, but I am skeptical. I am a skeptic when it comes to the official narratives and a lot of the official conclusions I don't think are founded upon the best logic. I think they have philosophy that they look through the evidence at, and because of these lens, they're making these conclusions. But I don't think they're. I think faulty premises, faulty lenses are going to keep you from actually seeing it. Yeah, I agree, dude. This guy's annoying. I believe the Earth is at least 31 years old. I imagine that's how old you are, so that's a very good way to hedge your bets. Well, you said 10,000 to 6,000 years old. They typically put the smaller number before the other one, but I don't know how you do it in your cigarette prison island. 31 years old. I guessed it. Life started when I was born. Y'all are NPCs. I mean, that's how do you really get away from everything started when I was born if you start with the materialist precept of truth and meaning and logic all come from the brain, come from brain chemicals. Because I mean, if why are my brain chemicals different than yours, and how do we discern which brain chemicals are truer, right? So it's just total sophistry. Ex elo. Elo is what you have in chess. That's how you know your rank. Ex nihilo. Ex nihilo. Ex Latin like nihilism. Nihil. Ex nihilo. Let me just have it popped up for you. Boom. Creatio ex nihilo. Latin phrase meaning out of nothing. How is the Earth 10,000 years old if we have civilizations older than those? I mean, if I'm not wrong, humans reached America only 12,000 years. Okay, you're talking about uh, like anthropology stuff. People crossing the Bering Strait. The oldest civilizations were no more than 5,000 years old. The oldest trees around 4,000 years old. The oldest language is around 4,000 years old. I mean, I haven't done any research into like all these questions. I won't speak too much, but again, I would just start with the philosophical point of view, because I think that's to understand something. If you don't start with fundamental questions, then you can get lost in the weeds. It's like a tree. It's like a tree. If you start here at the base, then you can look at the different parts of the tree, the branches, the fruit, the leaves, and you can start to make sense of them. But if you start with the leaves and you're just like in the tree and you're like, God, there's twigs in my mouth. Oh gosh, what kind of this must be a rhododendron, but you're like looking at it from far off and you're like, that's not a rhododendron, bro. It's not even a tree. You're just like literally in the weeds. That was an analogy. That was something. So with all this, how is the Earth 10,000 years old if civilizations are older than those? I would have to look at the claims that are being made and the evidences, and I would ask the question of who are the people that are looking at them, what is their worldview, how are they perceiving the information, because if you don't consider the person's worldview that's trying to tackle these questions, and you just listen to their conclusions, you might not understand how they got to that. And somebody can look at the same evidences. You and I can look at the same exact evidence, and it's not even about like, oh, I see this from this side, and I think, oh, it's white and gold, but you see it from that side, and oh no, it's black with letters, and like, it's not about the close your eyes and there's an elephant. Oh, and all the religions are touching the elephant. Oh, ooh, the Hindus have the trunk. Ooh, the Christians are touching the tail. Ooh, 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 the Roman Catholics feel the ears. Oh, how thin. The Roman Catholic says this object is thin, and the Orthodox is saying no, the tail is coarse. It's not like that. Well, I'm not trying to say that we all have access to different parts of reality or anything like that. That kind of dumb uh, metaphor you've probably heard. I'm saying that if you and I look at it, even if we look at it from every angle, if you and I have different lenses that we're looking at it through, we're going to come to different conclusions. And being able to look at the lenses, taking them off, and be like, bro, is your prescription good? Bro, that's out of date. That's going to help you not make errors as much. 6,000 years ago, life began. 4,000 years ago, the flood happened. 2,000 years ago, God came to earth as Christ incarnate and sacrificed himself for us. He's coming back sooner than later. I would definitely agree with the 2,000 years ago, God came to earth incarnate and sacrificed himself. He's coming back sooner than later. That is 100%. I will say that's true. And I would say the 6,000 years ago and the 4,000 years ago, I will say that I 75% agree with that. I'm okay if that's not the case. Doesn't break my worldview if that's not the case. I do think that is much more likely to be the case than not. I think young Earth makes much more sense, but not a killer argument for Christianity if it's not the case. Big T, no one knows the time, but I guess you can guess. Well, I mean, bro, Raz. Where you at? Where you at? Where you at? Here we go. It is later than you think. $5K years ago, people were really developed already because humans were already around for thousands of years. Again, if I'm not wrong about the dates, the first Homo sapiens appeared in Africa 60K years ago. I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't really buy that. I don't think we evolved. Yeah, you can look at the history of the countless forgeries when it comes to the different proto Homo sapiens, the different proto humans that are like, oh, this is how we got to human. Like tons of them were absolutely faked, like verifiably not real. Oh, the elephant thing. You know what I'm talking about. Genesis gives a better explanation of the likelihood. Yeah, I mean, I believe in the Genesis account. It's fun to talk to you, Diego. Diogo. I'm out of water. I've had this throat thing for like 2 weeks now. I just woke up 2 weeks ago with a 102-degree fever, hacking up my lungs. And my voice is mostly back, but man, at night it's just so dry and gross. Post nasal drip. So I'm hoping that goes away soon. Am I a gun guy? I have 3 guns. I would like more, but it costs the money, and there's other things to put my money into before I get guns. Yeah, I do like guns. I didn't. I don't. Okay. I grew up kind of conservative-ish. My dad was a Republican, so I grew up going to school in his car. He'd listen to like Rush Limbaugh and all that, so I kind of had that feeding into my brain, and I would just kind of regurgitate. And by the time I was in high school, like definitely by like junior year, I was a straight up anarchist. I was reading Christian Protestant anarchy stuff, listening to bands that totally trying to propagandize the youth into anarchy, and I was like an evangelist for anarchy and pacifism. And I had shot a gun once. My dad didn't. I didn't grow up with guns at all, and I shot a shotgun. Went to skeet shooting when I was like 15. It was like close to when I'm getting radicalized in that way. And it was just like a 12 gauge shotgun. Skeet shooting. I pull, I miss, pull, I hit, land, hit it. So for years I didn't shoot a gun. I would just make the joke, I've got a 50% hit ratio. Like a 1 in 2 chance I'm gonna hit my target. So if I ever need to shoot a gun, why would I shoot a gun now? I'm gonna lower my success rate. I'm gonna have a less likelihood of hitting them. I don't want to have a lower hit rate, you guys. I'm just gonna do me. And I haven't made that joke in a while. Yeah, I'm not gonna shoot a gun. 50% chance of me hitting. Yeah, don't want to. I don't want to lose that. You never shot a gun? It's fun. It's fun shooting guns. So much money. Guns are expensive. But yeah, I 2020. I was like, it's time to go get a gun. I started doing jujitsu. I got guns. I would go to the range once a month, stock loaded on some ammo. I saw a person get assaulted in person during 2020, about like halfway through the year. I was just driving down the road and there was a guy had like a flat tire on his truck on the side of the road, and it's pretty heavy traffic. 4 or 5. It's like 2 lanes in the middle turning lane, and I just see these 2 guys on this side of the road running through traffic, and they have their skateboards and they lift them up and hit the dude in the back, and then they start beating this dude. And like, what the heck? And yeah, after that, I was like, it's time to take stuff seriously, get a gun, and let's learn some self-defense. 2020 was crazy. So imagine something. How did people build the pyramids? With wood tools and stone tools, etc., and very small technology. Nowadays, we build a pyramid in 3 months with tech we have. It's evolution. What would that be? Is that the genetic fallacy? Just because we as humans can develop technology, and another thing this is assuming a mind. What's the difference between evolution? Even if you're a theistic evolutionist, let's just go with the official, which has its own other nonsense. Sorry. If you're going with the materialist account of evolution, there is no mind guiding evolution, but there are many minds guiding technology. You and I use our minds to try to develop technology. So I just don't think that's a false equivalency. I can understand. I did believe in. I never grew up believing in evolution. I was taught in my Protestant upbringing that it was evil and of the devil, and I'm surprised I even got to play Pokemon. But probably when I was like 23, I started questioning if evolution was true, because I went through some junk, and started questioning tons and tons of things about my life and my upbringing and everything, and started considering if evolution was true. I never would have. I don't think I was like fully on board, but I was definitely like searching and actually taking it more seriously. And it was really bad thinking. Most of it was me going, well, these people study it more and they're probably smarter than me. And how would I really know? It wasn't. That's not good thinking. That's not a strong mind trying to ascertain the truth. So I can understand if you, from a perspective, see one thing having a tendency and then ascribing that tendency to another thing. I can understand the tendency. I'm going to say that freaking word over and over, I guess, to do that. But I just don't think that follows that because technology improves that naturalistic evolution happens. You could only through an analogy could you say that, but I just don't think that follows. Never shot a gun. That's just sad. Get a bunch of cigarettes together, go buy a gun. What do I think of gay people? I think they are created in the image of God and that God loves them. I think homosexuality is a sin and a choice. I believe that most people who are homosexuals tend to come from broken families, very sad, hard situations. We were talking about this earlier. My little brother is, he thinks he's my little sister, and he had a very hard upbringing. I think he has PTSD and some trauma that he hasn't dealt with in a healthy way. And he's trying to find himself, and he's trying to make sense of it, and he's deciding to go down this path instead of going down a better path. But do I think gay people are evil? Do I hate gay people? No. I think that they are in need of love and God's mercy, just like I am. Nay, with the big gay, I do think it is wrong. Gay people are not straight. Well, God guides evolution. He makes us develop ways to be intelligent and have the self-awareness and free will to follow God. That is why the devil was allowed in the garden, so that humans had choices. Choices. Yeah, I mean that's kind of what I was thinking when I was considering evolution for about a year. That's kind of the line of thought I had. But you have to throw out tons of stuff about the Christian worldview if you're going to accept evolution. It is a pretty big bullet to bite. Tons of stuff that Jesus Christ himself says doesn't make sense if evolution is true, and if Jesus Christ is God, then yeah, I just don't think it is a very strong position. Wrong. I'm gonna get some water. Be right back, you guys. If I'm gonna do accents, I need to not kill my throat. All right. What do you guys want? You guys want to listen to something while I'm? Here we go. Here we go. What do y'all want to listen to? Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, Ras is making a good point. If you're going to believe in theistic evolution, there's just tons of stuff that you can't square, such as the image of God. All right, guys. The Boomertech trying to figure things out. Sit down, enjoy your coffee, while I go urinate. Thank you. How are y'all doing tonight? Tip your waitresses, all right? Let's have a good time. It's a little bit too much like a coffee shop than it is like a jazz lounge. Diego, when did we get the image of God? What came first, chicken of the what came first, the chicken of the egg? Big tear. Well, I personally believe we are born with his image, but he showed himself to us with Jesus. But God is not a man for me. He is a spirit that is beyond everything. Again, my opinion. There's a lot to parse out there, dude. First, if you believe in evolution, theistic evolution, and you believe that we are born in the image of God, where did the image of God come from? Did all of our evolutionary ancestors have the image of God, or is the image of God something that evolved? Did some people have 1/8 of the image of God? Should I call them people? Did our jellyfish ancestors have the image of God? Did they have 1/trillionth of an image of God? And if God just suddenly arbitrarily just granted the first people the image of God, but they came from other things that weren't quite people, but also, yeah, there's that, but also in the Orthodox Christian worldview I talked about earlier, that death is unnatural. It came about through the fall. Creation had no death in it. Death was unnatural, and through our actions, death entered the world. But evolution postulates that death is natural. So then you'd have to say God created death, and he's using death to bring about greater and greater complexities. So where did how did that change happen? Because you'd have to say for however many amounts of generations, tons and tons of generations, it was okay for people to rape grape grape Kool-Aid, and that was just them propagating their genes and interacting with the evolutionary process. And it was okay for them to do all these things that we would consider immoral because they weren't really human yet. They didn't have the image of God. And then suddenly they're bestowed the image of God, and they have to do none of the things that were totally okay for them to do before. That doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. And then God is not a man for you; he is a spirit. Do you believe in the Trinity? Do you believe? Are you a Unitarian? We would say that there are 3 divine persons. That Jesus Christ is the second person of the Godhead. God the Father is the first person, and that the Holy Spirit is the third person. But you're saying God is a spirit, but with quotations. So to me, that's just very unclear what your actual position is. Diego, I'm just going to call you Diego. Hope that's all right. You think we came from Campbell's chicken noodle soup at the bottom of the ocean? That's the question I want to know. Well, obviously the egg came first because chickens came from birds that survived the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs. But again, if chickens came from the eggs, then they had to come from something else, and then something else. It's an infinite regress. It's infinite regress. Even if they came from eggs of other proto-chicken species that were evolving into chickens, where did they come from? Oh, eggs of chickensaurus. Okay, where did the proto-chickensaurus come from? Eggs of the jellyfish. The jellyfish laid eggs, and a proto-chickensaurus came from it. Humans and dinosaurs existed at the same time, hence the firmament. The chicken was made by God first and then laid eggs. Yes, that is what I believe makes the most sense. It solves the infinite regress problem that Diego is running into, that I believe that Diego is running into. I think dinosaurs likely died in the moment of death entering the world. I believe that's where the Cambrian explosion came from, was the death entering the world. Many species went extinct at that moment. I think God is so great that his master plan will never be uncovered. But also, it's probable that we came from chemical reactions in the water. I mean, I just don't quite understand why you would try to hold these two different worldviews in you're juggling them. You're juggling. You're trying to have some kind of Christian worldview, and then trying to juggle it with a purely naturalistic, purely materialist worldview. But I know you say that God is some kind of spirit. I don't know if I'm going to read what you actually believe about that later, if you can clarify. But yeah, chemical reactions in the water. I just that sounds very. I'm very skeptical of that. Wrong. Jesus solidified the Old Testament. What? Where's that? What are you talking about here? Did I say something? Or are you? Am I? What's a you? What is a you? Can you tell me what a you is? Well, the image has always been present. If you look for it, every single one of the ancient civilizations had gods. That's not addressing the issue. That's not addressing the issue. If evolution happened and it was just chemical reactions that led to organisms that killed and ate each other, and there's no morality because they're just chemical reactions determined to do what they're going to do, and they're just organisms all having their instinct that's being driven with an evolutionary process, at what point are they culpable of what they do? At what point do they have the image of God? Just saying that ancient humans had civilizations and gods, just do you think having a god, does do pagans believing in idols, does that grant them the image of God? I just don't understand what your argument is. How do you explain the disappearance of the dinosaurs? Death. They died. Death entered the world, and the dinosaurs didn't were deprived of grace and died at the moment of the fruit being eaten. The firmament disappeared, hence the atmospheric pressure change causing animals to shrink. Yeah, I mean, I'm not with this kind of stuff. I'm probably not going to hold a hard and fast thing. I think it's interesting to think about. I think you may likely be correct. I definitely think that we know that the past, if we Christianity is true, which I believe it is, then we know that the past is not the same as the present in many ways. So when materialists assume that the past is the same as today, that is why they come up with so many errors. Not sure disappeared is the right word. Like I said, Dr. Kent, yeah, I'll look at him. I'll pop his name in. And I've got people are telling me to watch a bunch of stuff the other stream, so let me just add it to this list. Dr. Kent Hovind, is he a prot? Unitarian Universalist, is Kent reliable? Who's Kent? Are you talking about Kant? Kent. I don't know. Yeah, do it. Oh my gosh. It went like this. First cell that we don't know it appeared exactly. First cell. You got your first cell. We don't know it appeared exactly. Then more complex cells. First cell, more complex cell. Then simple creatures. Simple creatures in the water. Then fish. Then amphibians. Then reptiles. Then mammals. Us. I get your story. I understand the story. I do not believe the story. That's another thing that happens. I'm not saying you're an evolutionist, but I'm not saying that you're an atheist. But many atheists will, if you say you disagree with evolution, you have legitimate issues with it, legitimate critiques, they'll just explain it as if you don't understand it, or they'll say, oh, you probably just only understand the popular caricature of it. It's like, no, I can understand something and disagree with it. The more I understand about it, the less it makes sense. I know who Kent is. Clark Kent? I don't know what kind of Kent you're talking about, but it was from an atheist, so they might have strawmanned him. I don't know what you're talking about. Ancient humans had God in their mind because we all know deep inside there has to be something else. Ancient humans had God in their mind. They had God in their mind. I don't know if I can agree with you on that point. I would agree that we all know deep inside there has to be something else. I think that makes sense. But God in the mind? Nah, I don't know what you're talking about. Well, Big T, when dinosaurs were around, there was a lot of oxygen, which made animals bigger. Then an asteroid hit it, killed trees, less oxygen, smaller creatures like animals we have today. Again, that's the story. And it's a fine story. It's just a story. And I don't believe things because we can make up a story. Don't think we should believe every story that we're able to make up. Apologies for smacking that mic around. Audio's still good. I'll try the other mic tonight, like I said. Where's the asteroid? It would still be here, right? I mean, there's things that appear to be craters that they will say there's the evidence. But again, something having evidence, you have to interpret the evidence. And so, I mean, that's why evidentialism just isn't a very strong position to have, because an evolutionist will say, look at this evidence, the fossil record. I'm like, yeah, Christianity's true. So you're looking at it wrong. And they'll be like, but the evidence. And I'm like, yeah, you're looking at the evidence wrong. If you looked at the evidence correctly, then you wouldn't have an issue. Oh, is Jim Bob live right now? Am I missing out? No? Oh, okay. I saw something on the Discord. I think it was an old video. Yeah, it was an older video. Did you guys see the Arguments Against Atheism, episode 3? Let's go ahead and let's watch it. I think Diego would find it beneficial. I gotta hop off, dinner time. I will catch you later in voice chat. Yeah, totally down. I still gotta film your wacky video idea with the cop or whatever. We have a huge hole. Speak for yourself. We call the Gulf of Mexico where the asteroid hit. It's literally the most repeated story ever. The asteroid was destroyed, obviously. It's a story. It is a possibility, but speaking with such certainty about something we don't have access to. Let's watch this. Not to just steal Jim Bob's content, but let's do it.
When you ask an atheist,
Is the audio okay? I don't know how. I'm gonna turn it up like half.
when you ask an atheist, why is it they don't believe in God? One of the most common responses is, I don't see any good evidence. In this video, I'm going to explain why the atheist thinks this is a good reason and why it's in fact not a good reason. Welcome to Arguments Against Atheism. I'm Jim Bob. I'm here to give you the goods. So when an atheist says, I don't believe in God because I don't see any good evidence, what they mean is they don't see physical evidence. Now, I wonder, are there any underlying assumptions being made in regards to what evidence is? Well, let's take a look. One obvious assumption the atheist makes is that all truth claims are empirical claims, which is a false starting assumption. Not all truth is obtained in the same way. If there are different ways of arriving at the truth of
Well, yeah. Diego, it's good to. I don't even know. Have we talked in the comments section or something, or have you been watching my shorts as they come out? It's good to talk to you, man. Thanks for your questions. Good to hear from you. Good to see your view. I was basically at where you're at, and that was like 2018, 2019-ish for me. Dabbling and thinking about theistic evolution. But yeah, I think the arguments against it are very strong, and I think the arguments for it are not strong. But yeah, keep seeking the truth. I'd love to hear from you again. Good night. Yeah, do good in school. Do good in school. We can go ahead and finish this out just because we started it.
Different types of claims, and God's existence isn't the empirical category, then we've already spotted a category error. The atheist also assumes that a standard for sufficient evidence has been established. Is there only one type of evidence? No. But in this case, empirical evidence is the standard they are going with. So let's see if they apply the empirical standard to their own beliefs. Is there anything the atheist believes or assumes without empirical evidence? Does the atheist believe in knowledge? Yes. Is there any evidence? No. Does the atheist believe that the regularity in nature will maintain tomorrow? Is there any evidence? No. How about the laws of logic? Is there any physical, empirical evidence for the law of identity? Does the atheist believe in concepts or universal categories, meaning? These are all examples of things the atheist does, in fact, believe in. They exist in a particular way, but they are not empirically verified. So I think we have enough examples to demonstrate the atheist doesn't really apply their empirical standard to their own beliefs, but they certainly love to use it against Christianity. Now, of course, the atheist will say, well, those aren't my beliefs. Those are just my axioms. Okay, then my axiom is God exists. To further demonstrate the flaw in their empirical standard, what if we use their argument against God's existence against some of the things they believe and see how it sounds? I don't believe in truth. There's no empirical evidence. I don't believe information exists because there's no physical evidence. I don't think knowledge exists because I can't see, taste, or touch it. Where it leads to is absurdity. So it seems as though any argument the atheist levies against God's existence based on the physical evidence standard could be made against things like truth itself.
That's enough. If you want to go watch the rest of that video, please support Jim Bob. Great channel. I'm sure everybody here already basically came from him. I don't know if Diego did. So I played that because, not to say that Diego here is a atheist, but I think that he's borrowing a lot of his worldview from an atheist worldview. And it seems like he has a lot of these empiricist, materialist lenses that he looks at the world with. So just being able to understand that there's more than one type of evidence, there's more than one type of truth claim, and you can't prove everything through the same way because everything Diego seems to be talking about is just physical evidence and baking into when he brings up the evidence, he's baking in the interpretation of the evidence that he's bringing up when evidence has to be interpreted. But I wish I had gotten to hear more of Diego's views of spirituality because it was very unclear to me. And God is in ancient people's minds, and they worship pagan gods, and that's why they have the image of God. And what else did he say? God is a spirit, just like plants are animals, and they're not real plants. I'm not trying to make fun of you, Diego. I'm not really understanding your position. It seems contradictory to me, and I'm just trying to repeat the things back to you that you said. I don't know if you'll come back and watch this part, but I would like to hear more of your theological foundations. Yeah, no, he's got some axioms. It sounds like if you have an axiom, you know it's some bullcrap. Axioms are bullcrap. Oh, Kent. I think I've seen this guy's face before. I don't think I've ever listened to him though. Well, we're almost at 3 hours. I guess I could play us out. Do you you have anything to talk about from Prison Island? You're actually watching. Oh, hey, I thought you were going to bed, dude. Oh, English is not your first language. Yeah, I'm going to stream tomorrow. Please share the stream link. I would like a dozen people, if not more, to watch tomorrow because I was going to do some songwriting with the chat's influence, coming up with lyrics and stuff. We're going to write some Protestant songs because I'm not a Protestant and the music is kind of weird to me. And I think it'd be funny to write some music in that style. But yeah, come out tomorrow and share it if you can, if you want to. You don't got to do anything you don't want to do. But yeah, I'd like to hear more of your perspective. I don't want to I'm trying to logic out some of the questions I have from how you would say it, but I decided I need to hear you say it because I don't know what you mean by I don't know what your Trinitarian theology is. Yeah, but definitely hop on sometime, please. All right, Ras, are you still there? Can you hear this at all? Can you hear me and the guitar? Yeah, how did you find the channel? It's gonna take getting used to playing live. I'm in my head a little too much. Playing very safe, but also I'm just noodling. Oh, here it is. All right, peace out, you guys. See you tomorrow.